I hope everyone is doing well. My name is Iris Takuna, and I am the Global Chair of the Long Island Board of Realtors. Thank you for being with us today for our final week of Global Success Month. We are finishing our special month out with a special presentation from Gay Corrarton from the research group of the National Association of Realtors. Each year, NAR conducts an international residential real estate business survey for LIBOR to gather information about the size and characteristics of transactions with international clients in our market. Gay is here today to present the latest housing market trends, foreign buyer trends nationally and in the Long Island market, and the global economic outlook. If you have any questions or comments during the webinar, please enter them in the chat box or using the Q&A feature to be addressed. Gay Corrarton is a senior economist and the director for housing and commercial research at the research group of the National Association of Realtors. She manages the production of NAR housing statistics on existing home sales, prices, affordability, and inventory, conducts NAR residential, commercial, and international market research surveys, and analyzes economic, demographic, and local conditions that affect home ownership and the outlook for residential and commercial property. Gay has an MS in statistical science from George Mason University and MA and BS in economics from the University of Philippines, and certified business economist designation from the National Association for Business Economics. Let's welcome to the Zoom screen, Gay Corrarton.
Unmute myself. Hello, thank you so much, Iris, and thank you, Amy, for the invite. I assume everyone can hear me. Love presenting to this group. We've conducted the survey of foreign buyers in the LIBOR market for the past 2 years. So we are now on our 3rd year. And this is really a perfect time to do this webinar because the 2022 survey is going to be launched next week. And so, I hope with the statistics that you're going to see today, that will encourage you to find value in the survey, in what LIBOR is doing jointly with NAR. Yes, if you do receive that survey, and I think it should be sent to everyone, it will be sent to everyone. Please fill out that survey. It's very important. It's the only survey that provides information on foreign buyers in the United States. So that figure that NAR produces is the only figure, and it's being quoted everywhere. And for your market, it also gives you a lot of information on where foreign buyers are. It's a market niche, but certainly, like any market, you need information to succeed. And so really happy to be here to present the trends in the global economy, what's happening to foreign buyers, and particularly to LIBOR. And again, hopefully, I hope you do fill out that survey next week when you do get it in your inbox. So with that, let me share my screen. Okay. So let me just start with net international migration, because you're all very interested in this, dealing with foreign buyers. So we did see that in 2021, net international migration increased. Oh my God, why is this? Sorry, Hawaii. No, that's not Hawaii. Sorry, that was. Sorry about that, but net international migration increased. I took out the wrong slide, but for the Long Island, New Jersey market, we did see that uptick. And I'll change that slide, Amy. I apologize. I mistakenly took out the wrong slide. I had several slides for several states. It's positive for the Long Island, New York, New Jersey area. We also do see that tourist arrivals to the United States are returning. As you can see, prior to the pandemic, about 7 million visitors every month come to the US. So, with the COVID vaccinations, most businesses opening, people having achieved some kind of natural immunity, tourist arrivals are returning. Now, of course, with what is happening globally, everyone I'm sure is concerned about what is the impact of what is happening in Russia and Ukraine to foreign buyers. And, an indicator is the, again, tourist arrivals in those countries. So most of the US tourist arrivals are really coming from Western Europe. So this would include Germany, France, UK, the Western part of Europe. And from the eastern part of Europe, which would include parts of Russia and then, Ukraine, you'd have minor 30,000. So a while ago, recall that I showed we had about 3 million visitors a year. So tourist arrivals from Western Europe are about 10%, whereas from Eastern Europe, just about 1%. So, the direct impact of what is happening there right now in terms of foreign buyer purchases is small. So the impact is really by way of the effect on oil prices, on inflation, and then on the response of the Federal Reserve Board to raise interest rates. But higher interest rates really impact your domestic buyers, not so much your foreign buyers, because your foreign buyers, especially if they come from abroad, they're paying with cash. So the impact really on what's happening globally is on domestic buyers. Now, certainly for countries from Russia, you have Russian buyers, well, with the sanctions, it makes it more difficult for them, to send money to the US or anywhere abroad. So if you are dealing with Russian buyers, certainly you will be impacted. Again, just looking at trying to figure out here, what is the impact of what's happening to the US economy? US exports to Russia are small. In general, this slide is showing you that the US has had really very, very little trade with Russia. US exports to Russia are less than 1%, just, 0.5%. Same thing here. The US is importing less than 1% of commodities from Russia. So again, the direct impact is small. And so I should not, I actually right now don't think that the US economy will see negative growth or will fall into a recession because of this thing. Even the International Monetary Fund is not yet anticipating any economic recession from this. Perhaps slower growth by a few decimal points, but not right now, not yet a decline in global growth because European countries that import oil from Russia have not even sanctioned or put trade sanctions because they know that if they do that, their manufacturing production facilities will stop grinding, and that will have a significant impact on their economy. So again, the point is little trade with US, and then also little trade actually of little share of Russian foreign buyers to the United States. So here, as I mentioned, the impact on what's happening in Russia and Ukraine is really on inflation, and the main transmission mechanism here is oil prices. Actually, that should be 7.9% now. As of February, inflation is up at 7.9%. Now you may be wondering, well, this conflict with Russia and Ukraine just started in March. And sometime already early this year, we were seeing already high inflation. And why is that? Well, recall that global prices fell during 2020 and 2021 because of slower demand as the global economy suffered from the effect of COVID-19. And with economies recovering, the demand for oil picked up. So that already actually put upward pressure on oil prices. So even before Russia invaded Ukraine, and the US and UK and other countries imposed oil sanctions on the Russian oil exports, oil prices were already rising. They were at $96 per barrel in February. And so now we're seeing about 120, 130 dollars per barrel. And well, this is in March is when you saw your gas prices, right, kick up to about, $4.50 per gallon. But because of this inflation risks, and the Fed is worried that if they don't do anything about inflation, you'll have runaway inflation. And given that the economy right now is still strong, and last February, the economy created about 600,000 jobs. As you know, the housing market is still hot. So right now, the economy is still doing pretty well, whereas inflation is becoming a major issue. It's hitting across all consumer items. Food prices are up, of course, gasoline prices, energy prices. And once food prices rise, right, you'll have some political backlash also. So the Fed does want to control inflation, because if it doesn't, it will get harder to control later on. The thing, though, is the Russian-Ukraine crisis has complicated matters. Before, the Fed was just saying, well, the economy is growing right now, but the ugly head of inflation has appeared, and so we need to fight inflation. It kind of became like a one-target battle. But with the Russia-Ukraine political, geopolitical, and economic, crisis and the risks ahead, so the Fed is also trying to look at the impact on the economy. So in its statement, it said that, yes, we will fight inflation, but we will also continue to monitor what's happening to the economy. And if they see, for example, that these high oil prices are going to have a significant effect on consumer spending, and consumer spending accounts for about 70% of the economy, they might pull back, right? So what this means, though, is if they pull back on raising interest rates now, let inflation creep up a bit, because they don't want the economy to slip into a negative growth, or again suffer a decline in unemployment, then that means that your interest rate increases are going to be pushed back further, say 2024, 2025. So the Russia-Ukraine crisis does complicate how the Fed is going to maneuver this interest rate increases. But for now, based on their statement, fighting inflation is still the main goal. And so you can see, and this, just a slide, but yes, your mortgage rates are now up 4.4%. Tomorrow we'll see what they'll be. They'll probably still hover at around this rate. But this is not the end, inflation is still running at 7.9%. The Fed wants to bring back inflation to 2%. So you'll have more rounds of interest rate increases coming. So right now, the high end of the federal funds rate is at 0.5%. The expected rate, based on how the members of the Fed voted, could hit 1.9% at the end of 2022. And then at the end of 2023, it could hit 2.8%. And typically, there's been a spread of about 3% between the Fed funds rate and your 30-year mortgage rate. So if the Fed funds rate moves up to about 2.8% end of 2023, 6% interest rate at the end of 2023 is not far off, So, but 6% still, that was what we had 1990s, even during the housing market bubble, about 6%. So we'll get back to that, to that kind of rate. But after that, once the inflation is controlled, at least maybe starting by 2024, so you won't see a lot of interest rate increases. So in terms of this path, it kind of move up to 6% and then just, kind of remain flat or just move slightly upwards, which means that the main impact on the housing market is really going to be this year, 2022 and 2023. Now, 2022, I would say, the effect has still to be played out, because really there are two opposing factors here. One is that your higher mortgage rates are going to make a home purchase unaffordable, especially if you're earning 75,000 to 85,000. It's going to be unaffordable. And then for homeowners who may want to sell their home, but then purchase another home, they're probably thinking, I wouldn't want to sell my home now, right? Because then I have to pay a higher interest rate. And with home prices also rising by 15%, I can't afford it. So it will affect both affordability and the supply of homes for sale. That is one. That's the negative effect. But on the other hand, as I mentioned, if these rates are going to go up to 6% next year, and you're a rational buyer, and you're earning more than 75 to 85,000, maybe you're earning 100, 150, and you can afford it. So what will happen is that you will probably try to buy now, right, before those rates go higher. So there is this kind of tug of war between the affordability effect and the effect of buyers trying to lock in. So we're seeing that now, even as the existing home sales fell in February to about less than 6 million, home prices were still high. They still increased by about 15% year over year. And that is because there's still strong demand relative to supply, even if demand is softening somewhat, because there's not a lot of supply. So the effect on the housing market is going to be more on quantity or on sales rather than on price. So broadly, we don't anticipate prices to be falling because of tight supply conditions, and because of people, trying to lock in now before rates rise further. So that's the housing market. I thought I had a slide here about the outlook, but maybe it came at a later one. But anyway, let me now turn to foreign buyer purchases of U.S. residential property. Lots of developments since 2017. Peak foreign buyer purchases were in 2017, 153 billion. But recall also that after 2016, 2017, when the Chinese economy started feeling a pressure on its yuan currency, it tightened controls on the outflow of capital. And that's when we saw Chinese foreign purchases decline. And then 2018, also 2019, if you recall, it seems so long ago now, but back then, recall the main geopolitical event here was the US-China trade sanctions. Recall those, right? There was a tit for tat, China would impose tariffs on US goods, the US would do the same, and global economic growth slowed then, and with China being a major buyer, that somehow affected also Chinese purchases, right? Because if you're probably a businessman, you'll say, well, if relations between the US and China are going to be really sour, and that may affect my investments in the US, I don't really need to come to the US often and buy property, right? So maybe in that kind of sense, that's how this US-China trade war affected the demand for real estate. Then, of course, the pandemic hit in 2020, 2021, and so we saw a decline in foreign buyer purchases. So right now, foreign buyer purchases in the US make up just about 2%. Is this good? Is this bad? Well, certainly if if your main market are foreign buyers, yes, you are hurting. But if your main market are domestic buyers, it's kind of like a positive thing, right? Because even if foreign buyers, even if the foreign buyer share has declined, you still have a huge demand from your domestic buyers, because as I said, there's this tight supply, and if you don't have foreign buyers, that will free up supply for your domestic buyers. That does not mean that the foreign buyers, the foreign buyers do provide competition, especially in areas like Florida, where foreign buyers make up about 15% of the market, and they tend to pay cash. So yes, they do compete with domestic buyers. But just in terms of the effect on prices, any impact on what will happen to the global economy and what will happen to foreign buyers purchasing property in the US will have very little impact on the overall US housing market in terms of quantity, because foreign buyers make up just 2%, and in terms of price, because with supply so tight, prices are still rising at double-digit pace. Where are the foreign buyers coming? Canada, Mexico, China, Russia is just less than 1%. And the top destinations, Florida, 1 in 5 US foreign buyers will go to Florida, and then New Jersey, New York, always a toss-up, but they're always like number 5 or number 6. So in between, you'd have California, Texas, Arizona, but New York, New Jersey each make up about 4% of foreign buyers. And who are the major buyers purchasing in New York and in New Jersey? Well, Asians. About half of foreign buyers come from Asia. In New York, also New Jersey. Now in New York, Latin Americans made up about nearly 20%, but in New Jersey, a little bit less. More of the Europeans were purchasing in New Jersey. Europe, New York, just 9%, but a bigger share in the New Jersey market. So, well, some of this will come from many countries, including Russia, some buyers from Ukraine, other buyers, buyers come from across the globe, right? The US is a land of immigrants, and so you always know, I'm sure our realtors have sold to at least all countries globally, but on an aggregate scale, the Europeans will make up a smaller share of buyers in New York than in Europe. But of course, there'll probably be a bigger share in Manhattan, like Russian buyers. I mentioned that Russian buyers make up about 1% of the total US foreign buyers, which account for just about 2%. So you can imagine that's really a very small share, right? But they're buying in Florida. New York is number there. Now, Georgia, kind of a surprise to me, but it popped up in our survey. And, probably they're buying the historical, beautiful houses there. But anyway, Florida, New York, California, Illinois. I think this was Washington. I can't see it on my screen now. But that would, I think, be Washington, then Utah. So that's where your Russian buyers are purchasing property. Okay, now this slide is saying that yes, you also have your international transactions will not only be of foreign buyers seeking to purchase property in the US, right? You also have US citizens or US residents, people residing in the United States who are looking to purchase property abroad. And I think about 8% of realtors who respond to the survey say that, yes, they've had clients who want to buy a property abroad. And now, at least for the 2021 survey, these are the top countries: Mexico, Canada, China, Costa Rica, mostly in Latin American countries. But I know, Iris, I've seen India here. I've also seen the Philippines here. And it's not a surprise, right? Because the US is a land of immigrants. And I know that with the retirement of baby boomers, right? A lot of them want to stretch that Social Security check that they're receiving. And for most of them, at least for the people that I know, that dollar goes a longer way, if they go back to their home country and spend it there. So yeah, they are looking for properties, probably of their original ancestry, or even if they still continue to reside in the US, they may want to visit their family. So they're looking to purchase property abroad, or, they could also be purchasing property for a relative there. So again, certainly if for our realtors, our realtor audience here, if you yourself have ties to another country, that's a great way to start working with for foreign buyers. You already have that instant connection. So reasons client decided not to purchase property. I've already spoken about tight supply. So as you can see here, about half are saying, well, the client didn't buy because they could not find a property to purchase. And maybe they couldn't find what they were looking for, or it was not they did find it, but it wasn't at the price point that they could afford. And so you can see here that cannot buy property and cost of the property are really the two main reasons. And then for your what we call your type B buyers, or who are buyers already living in here, so the difficulty in obtaining financing is one reason. Source of leads or referrals, again, your previous clients, your personal contacts. We always get in the survey, how do I start selling to foreign buyers? As I said, if you can start with immigrants already in the US, they're here, they're living here. They make up about half of foreign buyers, your recent immigrants, or perhaps people who are in the US on a diplomat visa, or students, or on a work visa. You can start with that. They're here already. And then once you work with them, yeah, that chain of referral just keeps moving. And so I guess this is the slide that I was mentioning. But anyway, for 2022, we are going to see some decrease in existing home sales. I think the forecast now is a little bit below 6 million because of the high interest rates, but we don't see prices falling. So let me just now go to foreign buyer purchases in the Long Island Board of Realtors market. As I said, we've conducted this survey with the association, thanks to Iris, who supported this, and then we've worked with Tessa Halls and then Amy. So we've conducted this in the past 2 years. So I'm going to show data, 2-year data here, and hopefully when you do receive this survey next week or the next few weeks, please answer it, because whatever you respond, whatever you give information on will be reflected here. If you don't have respondents, we're not going to be able to get any data for your area. So in the LIBOR market area, the estimate is you have about $614 million foreign buyer purchases. That's about, and there was an increase from 2020 and 2021. So I guess this was, as the economy was opening up already from the COVID-19 pandemic. So, most of you reported you had an increase in foreign buyers. So that's it, that showed there. Who are the foreign buyers? There are really two types. What we call the type A, these are your foreign buyers who primarily live abroad. They're living abroad, but then they want to buy property in the US. That's about 20%. There are the foreign buyers who just recently arrived to the US on an immigrant visa. They're green card holders, and within the past 2 years, at the time of the transaction, they purchased a property, or they could be in the US on visas like a diplomat visa, a worker visa, a student visa. Anyway, they are non-US citizens living in the US. Now, this excludes your permanent immigrants, right? Somebody who is already holding a green card for over 2 years, like they've been in the US for 5 years, 10 years, but for personal reasons, they just want to be a green card holder, not a US citizen. We are not counting that. So anyway, most of the foreign buyers in your market area are actually already living in the US, 81%, based on the last survey. This is higher actually than the national average, because nationally it's kind of an even split. 50% type A and also about 50% type B. But yeah, in the LIBOR area, I guess it's easier to get to go make transactions with foreign buyers because they're already here. Where are they coming from? Asia, 28%, and then Latin America, 13%. So recall in the national survey, recall a while ago, right? I showed a statistic that said that for the New York and the New Jersey market, about half of foreign buyers were from Asia. Somehow in the Long Island market, that's a bit less. It's just 28%, but you do have more Latin American buyers. And the number one buyer is still China, although there was a drop from 2020 to 2021. In 2020, Chinese buyers made up 35% of LIBOR buyers. That dropped to just 15%. Guess this had to do with the pandemic still, right? They couldn't come to the US. But Canadian buyers, maybe because they could already come to the US, that's where the buyer, your profile of buyers shifted. And also more buyers from Colombia, I guess Latin America, and these other countries. It'll be, again, interesting to see what this is going to be in the 2022 survey. So yeah, please do fill that out again. I keep repeating that. Where did they buy? Mainly in, well, the Manhattan, Nassau County area. So Manhattan is 22%, Nassau 22%, Queens 20%. So those are the main ones. Staten Island 3%, Brooklyn 8%, Suffolk County 17%. So Tessa gave me this list, and this is the market area served by the Long Island Board of Realtors. And so when you guys reported to us where your foreign buyers are, so this was what it was. LIBOR foreign buyers typically purchase at a higher price point. If you see the foreign buyer price, again, so the light blue is 2020, dark blue is 2021. I can't really explain here the decline. It could be the shift. Oh, yes, probably the shift in foreign buyers, right? So you did see a decline in Chinese buyers and then an increase in Canadian and Colombian buyers and other buyers. So, that shift in composition of buyers likely impacted this median price. But anyway, the point of this chart is to show that foreign buyers typically purchase at a higher price point than all the buyers in your market area. And then, of course, New York and the LIBOR market being more expensive areas in the country, you'd have a higher foreign buyer price compared to all US foreign buyers. Non-resident buyers typically purchase more expensive properties. Again, your non-resident buyers are buyers who primarily live abroad, but they purchase property in the United States mainly for vacation purposes, right? Because they don't really live here. So either they're purchasing the property for vacation or for investment rental. But yeah, this is a big difference actually, right? That's about $200,000 between your non-resident and your resident foreign buyer. All cash sales accounted for 40%, 42% in 2021. Sorry, not 42%. That was US mortgage. I can't quite see this. I think it's about 30%. Sorry, something is blocking my view. But this is, I think, about 30%. So all
30%.
cash sales, something. And then so not much difference, surprisingly. Yeah, so not much difference in the 2 years that we've conducted this survey. But most do use US mortgage financing. Not a surprising finding, because you recall later in the earlier part, I said that 80% of LIBOR markets foreign buyers already live in the US. So if they live in the US, they're working here, they have documents that enable them to obtain a US mortgage, and that's what they're doing. So you have a higher share of foreign buyers who are purchasing property using mortgage financing. How do they intend to use property? Mostly for vacation rental, and then also as a primary residence. Now, this is a bit of a surprise, again, because I would have thought that the primary residence share was going to be higher, because 80% of your foreign buyers are already living in the US. But I guess that didn't somehow work out. But maybe because you have here this high share of don't knows, which I continue to tabulate. So that might account for that. But anyway, foreign buyers, either they're purchasing property for vacation rental or for primary residence. But in the national survey, foreign buyers who live abroad will tend to buy a property for vacation or rental. And then if they're already living in the US, then they're buying a property for primary residence. Guess that's easy to understand. Now, I'm showing this. It shows how the type of entity that purchased the property. So in New York, about 23% used a corporate entity, could be an LLC, LLP, LP, and then about 69% were individuals. This is a bit higher. 6% in 2020 is more in line with national trends. I don't know what happened in 2021, but this is a bit higher than the national rate of about 10%. And the reason I'm citing this is because the other day I got a question when I was also being interviewed about how NAR is how sales are being impacted by money laundering, or what is NAR's policy. And yes, NAR does have a policy, but the policy is that the policy is one of a voluntary submission of information if you think there is suspicious activity, this is just part of your consumer diligence, right? So if you think there's suspicious activity, NAR encourages you to do report that. Now, there is actually already a regulation for title companies that if that they need to report a property or a transaction that is where the purchase price is over 300,000 in 12 geographic areas, what they call the GTOs, geographic targeted areas. And New York City is one of those areas. So if you are a realtor and a transaction was over 300,000, which is most likely the case, so actually your title company will be reporting that to FinCEN, the Financial Crimes Enforcement Network. And if you received cash for some reason, your buyer gave you the cash, and I'm not really very familiar why that would happen, but if you did receive the cash, a check, a manager's check, which is over $10,000, then you also need to fill out Form 8830. But anyway, I just wanted people to be aware of this. I'm not really the perfect person to explain this, and maybe you can have another event or session on that. But it will be good to know how to deal with such transactions if you have foreign buyers that use an LLC or LLP or a corporate form to purchase property. And some of you in the audience may be in commercial real estate. So, I just showed this that showed an increase in commercial real estate sales from 2020 to 2021. The commercial market really rebounded in 2021. Essentially 2020 was a dark period for the commercial real estate market, but 2021, we did see a recovery. There was a surge of transactions for multifamily properties, for industrial properties because of the strength of e-commerce, and even for the office market that recovered somehow, although you still have about 115 million square feet of space that was given back to the market in the New York metro area. 115 million nationally and about 30 million square feet in the New York metro area. Manhattan lost its place here as the top destination of foreign buyers. So it was Seattle, Atlanta, Dallas, San Francisco, Boston, Phoenix. So yeah, so Manhattan fell there. I guess so. Foreign buyers, commercial buyers, foreign buyers of commercial property, are also looking at other markets, which are growing fast in terms of employment. Properties are cheaper. There's also migration going into those areas. And the main investor in US commercial real estate, so Canada, and then Asian countries. And I thought I saw there it is, right? About 500 million in the UAE. Yeah, so our leadership is, and some folks are there right now. But if ever you do want to establish some transactions, these are potential areas where you could, strengthen your ties. With that, thank you so much, and I'm happy to answer some questions. Hello?
Hello. Yeah, I'm looking in the Q&A thing. I don't have any questions, but I have a few questions. What do you think about this current seller's market, which we have been, gosh, it's been nearly about 4 or 5 years now. You think it's going to change soon?
I think it'll still be a seller's market because supply is still tight. Right now, about the supply is equivalent to 2 months of monthly demand.
Correct.
You want 5 months, and labor market conditions are so tight. You have about 2 job openings for every job seeker. Not enough people really. So and then you still continue to have this supply chain issue. So it'll still be a seller's market, but not as hot as it was in the past 2 years, but still a seller's market.
Yeah, the very fact with the interest rates and home prices going side by side on the rise, I think so in the future, there's a good chance maybe there has to be a certain price drop. We have seen literally in the past, I would say after the pandemic, more like 14 months, there's a fight for every house. There are about 10 people fighting for the price.
Yes.
But yeah, and especially in areas like, for example, New York, sorry, Long Island, you have Nassau County and Suffolk County. Suffolk County never ever surpassed 400,000 average. I'm talking of average, four and a quarter. Now, if you look at it in the last, I would say, yeah, 10 months to a year, it has gone up to 500,000.
Oh, yeah, I know.
And
So that, yeah.
yeah, and what used to happen, Gay, is people from Nassau used to go and buy bigger properties in Suffolk. You're talking about acres. You know, if you're living on a property which is by 40 by 8,000 square feet, they go into 1.2 acres. And the house used to be big and everything. But now, because of the pandemic, and most of the people who have bought homes in Suffolk are the ones who are selling their $1 million properties in Manhattan because they no longer work from offices anymore.
Exactly.
And then they come back. Yeah, it's a big trend change. And as you have heard that people are very reluctant now to go back to work in the spaces for work. You know, they are so not comfortable, but for them, they have bought new homes, bigger mortgages, but they're happy. They're happy, you know.
Yeah, they're happy. They don't want to travel. I'm working from home right now.
There you go. Yeah. And
Yeah.
it
It's
makes a big difference. Yeah. Um,
So yeah, so I did not quite touch on that, but you're right, Iris. I did not quite touch on the geographical movement, but we will certainly see, more demand in the suburbs, in the outlying areas, rather than in your areas close to the central business district. Yes, because people can work from home, right? Used to be also that before you want to live close to the city, maybe to reduce travel time, reduce transportation expenses, but you don't really, that trade-off is not as visible now, right? It's not as stark now because people can work from home, and companies do want their workers to work from home. But if some other company is saying, hey, you can work for me full time, that creates that competition.
Yeah, there's another thing about $1 million homes, even the luxury side of things. Going back the time, anytime a person, a listing agent had to put a property above 1.82 million, it sat on the market for nearly about 3 months, 4 months. But now, whoever has been in the market, or for that matter, people who have the monies to put down the down payment, or as you said, pay in cash, they're doing it. So that drives automatically the homes which were 800,000 to 1.2 million.
Yes.
And
I mean, that's correct, because also if you had lived in the California area, right, and you sell that property, or even in Manhattan, and with all the stock market also, rates of return, but I think it's more like selling a property. You can easily buy also, a property in a less expensive place, or may not be your primary residence, could also be your vacation home, might be cheaper. But yeah, there's a lot of demand from the high-end buyers. We just did a study actually, and we compared the profile of homeowners from 2010 to 2020. 71% of that change in home ownership were high income homeowners.
Yeah. Just to give you a quick example, I know we are on the topic of Long Island, but just to shrug away from that and go to Florida, I have a good amount of friends who are realtors in Florida, especially in the Tampa area. There's this one friend of mine, she sold a property literally 11 months ago to her buyer for $354,000. 11 months later, now the buyer becomes the seller, sold it for $565,000. This is insane.
Tampa, Florida, hot market, not just for residential, but for offices.
Correct.
Tampa, that's one of the hot markets. And then, Tampa is a hot market, or Port St. Lucie, Miami. Correct. But in several markets, Florida is just booming. I think it's trying to attract tech talent
Correct.
what it is. Yeah.
Exactly. And also what is happening from our side, Long Island, there are droves of people. Their first point of moving to was Florida, but it is still Florida. It's nearly about 1,000 to about 1,500 move every day, which I believe hard to believe, but it is a fact. Because those are the ones who move, who have either decided going back 5 years ago, or the ones who have lived in their house for 25 years, where they purchased a house for 250. Now they're getting all the way high prices of anywhere between 500,000 to 600,000. Take that cash, put it across on the other side, be rent-free or mortgage-free for the rest of their lives. That's basically
Yeah.
what the trend is. Yeah, I mean, it's all over the place, but we have seen a lot of changes, especially here in Long Island. Now, for instance, I have buyers who their budget is up to, some of them who budget is up to 600,000. But the sad part is they are looking for 600,000. By the time you go to put an offer, you already have someone who is put up at 625, and their budget is up to 600, maybe 605. For every 1,000 or 5,000 they go up, their mortgage goes up, and they can't afford it.
Yeah, yeah.
It's
that was still competition out there. Even if the higher mortgage rates are dampening demand, there's no supply. And at least in the monthly confidence survey that we do, you still have an uptick in number of offers per home. So and so that's why prices are still rising at double-digit pace. You said, right? So about 15% nationally.
Yeah, 15%. That's a big number. You think this interest rates will rise up to what amount? Because I just saw yesterday it was 5.25. Is that right? I think so.
5.25 already. Well, official the 30-year fixed rate 4.25, 4.4 last week. But so tomorrow, Freddie Mac conducts a survey.
Correct.
So that figure will be released tomorrow. As I said, I'm looking at mortgage rates going up to as high as 6%.
Wow.
By next year. Because the Fed is going to raise interest rates to control this inflation. So
if not, we can go back, stop that. Everything's going to go haywire with the inflation.
Yes. No? Yeah. Well, no, it'll be the jump will be from 2022, 2023, right? But then, as I said, 2024 kind of maybe flat. Yeah, but then you're already at around the 6% range.
Yeah. But if you compare what we pay, 6% is nothing compared to other countries, what they pay. There are some countries starts off at about 9% and they're happy, happy in the sense they're getting something low. But we are I think so to a certain extent, we Americans here are fattened, that especially when it dropped even to, I know some of my clients who have refinanced about 2 years ago. When they took the advantage, they got it even at 2.375.
2.3. I know someone who refinanced that low. Yeah, they had it at 4.5, and then they refinanced to 2.5. Yeah. Any way you can save money. But the thing though is it made sense to refinance because prices were also just getting high, they were just moving and moving up, right? So even if the rate is low, if prices are going up, I mean, you're still going to be paying more.
Yeah, and I saw everybody saw the trend just out starting of the pandemic. I don't know from where the people came from the woodwork, that when you go for a competition towards the end, the bidding war, if the house is 525, all of a sudden someone is already asking 575. No questions asked, But of late, I've also seen in the last 8 months, the appraisers also are coming to a point where you would see, and you do your survey and stuff like that if it is a 5.25, you feel, oh my God, it's gone up by 20%, 20,000. And there's a good chance that the appraiser will bring it at 510. Then there's a chance of the 20,000, a buyer with the bid, he'll have to pay a difference in cash, but that's not happening actually now. When for a couple of people who I know and I've done, the homes that were 900,000 offered at for 920, and guess what? You have to be a little bit smart enough as a realtor not to go beyond a particular point. And in order to further have confrontations or anything, appraisers immediately say, we approved it for that amount. They don't ask you who, what, when, where, and it's done. It's done, yeah. But for how long the trend is going to continue when the prices drop, nobody knows. Prices drop, then you have to be careful about the appraisal of the home. Yeah, this is good. I mean, it's a very good representation what he showed, and so that people get the idea what it is. And as they say, global is local. There are so many people who can start business here locally to get into working with people overseas, especially the non-residents who they know, and especially it's like saying every family, not the entire family is here. They do have some people back home, and how we start a trend there. That's a big, huge advantage.
Correct. Yes.
So,
So, to me, really, that statistic that 80% of the foreign buyers already live here, that's way higher than the national average of 50%. So, yeah, if you want to go into in the international business area, just meet someone who lives in your country, and then,
exactly.
And that actually, connection will start flowing.
And exactly, Indians also now, people from India, or the very fact I'm from India, and people they invest a lot in the US. I see them that initially they used to invest in places like Manhattan and stuff like that, but they have become a little bit smarter by going and invest the same $500,000, whatever they get, to invest in the Midwest, where they can buy 2 properties for the price of 1. So one appreciates in 2 years, they pull it out from there and then again invest in something else. That's the trend, Oh, I see a question here.
Yeah, we have 5 questions, Iris.
No. The others were, the first question was, are we going to have access to the slides?
Yes, I will send them to Amy, and Amy will send them out to everyone. And I apologize for the first slide. You know what? I think that was actually New York, but I'm not sure. But I will change that slide.
No, yeah, for you. But I think so. It went off well. I mean, nobody even noticed it once you switched over to the Long Island slide. Then it says here, very informative webinar. Thank you very much. The question here is, seeing the prices increase drastically in Poconos in Pennsylvania. House was bought in 2020 for $221K with a foreign buyer and just went into contract with the listing price.
Oh my gosh, 700.
And also the from all cash buyer from Texas.
Oh wow.
This is insane.
500,000 more.
I'll tell you why I have a feeling, because especially in the Pocono area, it's more of people going there for recreation. So this particular person who bought it must have bought it for Airbnb.
That's right.
Yeah. Because Airbnb, you can get every night, you can get easily about $100 to $250, about $80 to $100 a night.
Oh, we really? Yeah. We went to an Airbnb. We paid like 200. But I'm thinking, is it better to do Airbnb or just rent it out? Because right now rental prices are also going up. There's a lot of demand for rental homes, especially single family rentals. Yeah, but the Poconos area, most likely it'll be a vacation home.
Yeah, the same goes as you mentioned, right? The rental thing especially in Long Island. Forget about Manhattan. Long Island, what is the trend is happening is people who are buying first-time home buyers are the ones who are renters. And renters, they go up to about 2,500 to 3,000 in rental. But they come thinking that they can put 10% down, 15% down, which kind of supersedes other people who literally put cash and who are ready to put 20 to 30% down. And those are the ones, they go back and they say, you know what, we have to remain with rentals. The competition on rentals in Long Island is huge. Just to give you an example, in prominent areas, you could get a whole house for approximately about $3,000 to $3,500. Now they go as far as 4,200 to 43, 4,400.
Oh, goodness.
The whole lot. Yeah, it is the rental market. Everything has gone through the roof. Everything.
Oh, well, with
Yeah.
mortgage rates rising,
Yeah,
you're going to see a faster rent growth, which is why you saw that slide, right? I said that the commercial market recovered in 2021.
correct.
Really, your two sources of recovery in the commercial market were your multifamily acquisitions,
Correct.
multifamily market, and then also the industrial.
And that's
People are worried about rising rates if you're in commercial, right? What's going to happen to prices, rent cap rates if you're in commercial, but multifamily, it will benefit from rising mortgage rates because people would shift to renting or stay as renters.
yeah. And another trend about first-time home buyers, I mean, this is forever. Some of them like to take their time. When they took their time, going back the time, it does not a worry because they locked in their rate. But look at the picture now. Even if you lock in the rate at 5 point whatever or 4 point whatever, you're locked in for a certain period of time. You don't know the moment you turn around, that could be 6%. Yeah. It's a crazy world out there. But you know what? I think so with this trend that people are being informed in advance that the prices, mortgage prices are going up. And maybe there might be a trend of the prices dropping because the uptick on the houses is anywhere in Long Island from 10% to close to 22%.
Yes.
That's insane.
I mean, I wouldn't say that's very high.
No, it's
in
not.
some parts, like 25%, right? Like say
Yeah.
Austin, Salt Lake City, you see prices up 25%. But to me, really, I think it's the pace of appreciation will slow, right? Instead of 25%, well, it could go to 10%, 5%. But I don't foresee prices falling, especially if you're in these areas, right? Especially if you're in these areas where jobs are still growing, where prices are still relatively affordable compared to the more expensive markets. Of course, New York and Long Island, right? Those are your pretty expensive markets already. DC, but elsewhere in the country, well, Phoenix, like Tucson, like you're going down now. Instead of Phoenix, it's Tucson. Instead of Charleston, it's Spartanburg. Instead of Nashville, could be Knoxville, Tennessee. And then instead of Dallas and Austin, it could be San Antonio. So those smaller markets are the ones that are booming. And as you said, right, in your area, instead of what is it? Nassau, they're going to Suffolk.
Yeah, we got Nassau where we are right now, at least where I am. And then you got the Suffolk side of things. Yeah. And then you go further out into Suffolk, you have the Hamptons. That's a different ballgame altogether. You start at about 2 million, upwards of 100 million.
Yeah.
Where people are, in fact, that part of the neck of the woods, people are literally renting out properties for literally 60 to 100,000 a month.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Renting out for 60 to 100.
Yeah, because come May from what do you call it? Labor Day. No, sorry, not Labor Day. It ends on Labor Day. About 5 months, they rent out for 5 months and they're done. And those are the people who do the rentals at the other end. They make their money during this 5 months, and the mortgage is paid for the entire year. It's crazy. It's a crazy world. People will pay anything to be somewhere away, aloof from everybody, But it's I mean, overall the trend, I hope the trend goes, and I look at this picture that people who have saved money in the long term and people who really saved money, those are the ones are having difficulty in buying a home, who have that American dream. They don't have, the dream is there, but they should keep it alive. That's the only thing, but hopefully, who knows, with a trend of 2 years, things could change. We'll have to wait and see.
Well, in general, prices just keep rising, right? I
Correct.
mean, I don't anticipate this supply shortage to ease anytime soon,
Yeah.
and the only reason really prices fell during the Great Recession was, the foreclosure crisis,
Right.
which
That's right.
isn't happening now. Are you going to see? I guess the thing is, are you going to see prices fall because suddenly people will pull back because of these interest rates? But it's. I mean, I think 6%, yeah, from 3% to 6%, but I think it'd only be for this 2 years, right?
Right.
Because after that, once inflation is controlled, you don't see interest rates shooting up
Climbing
again.
any
And,
higher.
and as I said, there's no reason for people to sell their homes because these are people, who have money. Even if mortgage rates go up, I think they have money to continue paying. And like during the Great Recession, people who bought property, once the interest rates reset, they didn't have money.
They don't have
But
money.
buyers are in the higher income bracket, they better credit scores, even if their interest rates reset. Yeah, I don't know. I'm a little bit. I'm actually not that. I'm looking at it still from a sanguine point of view. Just looking at it basically from a demand supply standpoint, and I think the demand is still going to outpace supply, even if it will weaken a bit.
Correct. Absolutely. Yeah. I think so. Oh, wow. We have one or some. I see in the chat there's no more Q&A. So I think so at this time, if you have anything else to share, Gay.
Not well, just reminder again, please. The survey will go out next week. It will come from the Long Island Board of Realtors. It's an email that goes out. If you see it, it's about foreign buyers. Now, the important thing is, even if you don't have a foreign buyer, make sure you answer it, because that will tell us what percent of the market is served, right? Is foreign buyers.
That's true.
So
That
yeah,
makes
so just to make a push for that. Yeah.
correct. That makes it easy for you, especially in the long run, how to kind of balance out the numbers,
Yes, yes. And we've already had 2 years of data, right? So over time, you'll see a pattern, 1 or 2 years, you may not see some trend, but over time you'll see clear trends. And yeah, you will see whether sales are rising in your market area or not.
Correct, correct. So on that note, Gay, I really, really appreciate your presence here today, Gay. It was an honor to have you as a final speaker during the Global Success Month. Additionally, we would like to express our gratitude to all the attendees during the whole month and in today's webinar. We hope that during the Global Success Month, you were able to pick up on some tips and tricks you can use to help expand your business globally. Stay up to date with LIBO Global by joining our Facebook group, attending our monthly webinars, or signing up for our newsletter. All of this and more is available by visiting our global website as www.lirealtor.com/global. Have a great rest of the day and keep in mind that global is local. And on the last note, I would also like to thank Evan, who couldn't be on this webinar, and also Amy for putting all this thing together. It was really great. And thank you again, Gay. Hope to see you soon.
Okay. Thank you so much, Iris. Thank you to all who attended. And yeah, see you soon.
Thank you
you.
much. Thank you.
Thanks. Bye-bye.